This is going to show the workflow going from Maya to Adobe Substance 3D Painter. Once you get this workflow connected, then you could expand and do more in Substance Painter and apply the materials more efficiently in Maya or whichever 3D application you're using. I have a polygon box. Click there or create polygon box. Going to make it a little more interesting. Going to apply two different textures to this model in Substance Painter. So with this box selected, right click, go to face, select a face, and in the modeling toolkit, click on extrude. And for some reason you don't see modeling toolkit there, you would go under edit mesh and use extrude there and the properties box. This one's a lot more efficient. With this face selected, and after you clicked on extrude, you'll see this panel. For the offset, use 0.2. It may vary depending upon the scale of your 3D object. Work your way around the model, press the G key or click the extrude button again, 0.2. You'll be doing this for all the panels horizontally. First thing is to apply an overall new texture to this. You can use blend, you can use Lambert's, doesn't really matter. What you're declaring here are the different parts to be painted up separately within Painter. So right click, assign new material. And you don't have to use Arnold for this at all. Just if you want to use Arnold, then why not use an Arnold shader? First thing is to apply a new Arnold shader here. Give it a good name. You could say this is the box color. Then for these panels, you're going to apply a separate material. Clicking here, right click, selecting the face, right click, assign new material. And again, another Arnold shader, AI standard surface. Give it a name, say box inset. And pick a different color. This helps you identify the part. For the rest of these, holding down the shift key, I'm going to assign the same material of inset. So assign existing material and box inset. Going to extrude this inward. Here I'll just push in a little bit. And I have to go back and fix that material right there. I accidentally selected that side. No big deal. So if you have this happening, and that's why it's also good to colorize your materials early on, so you could identify little problems before they happen. Select this face, right click, assign existing material, and that belongs to box color. Select the overall object and edit delete by type history, or click that button. And the last part is to do the UVs on this. So UV editor, this is the current layout and doesn't take into account for these insetted edges. That's not showing up here. Go under UV automatic. And now you can see there's these little pieces. Save your project and then export it as an FBX file. Export selection or export. I'll just call it box 1, overwriting my previous file. And the next stop is Adobe Substance 3D Painter. After you open up Adobe Substance 3D Painter, you need to create a new project and pick a template, and it's okay going back to Arnold to start with the top template right here, ASM, PBR, Metal Roughness. If you go into Blender or Unity, Roblox, you can see, Unreal Engine, there's different templates for document resolution. How big do you want these image files to be, each one? Start out with 1024. Select the FBX model, wherever you want to paint up. And we'll actually paint up something in the next go round. Here it's just about applying textures and getting them back into Maya or whatever your 3D application is. So after selecting the file, all you have to do is click OK. To navigate, use the wheelie mouse to zoom in and zoom out. Also the Option right mouse button to zoom in and zoom out. Option or Alt middle mouse button to pan, and Option or Alt left mouse button to orbit. And that's your basic navigation. You might not need to do the next step. You go under texture settings and scroll all the way down. You'll see bake Mesh Maps. Click on that button and click Bake Selected Textures. As Adobe Substance 3D Painter evolves as a tool, be less likely needing this option, but just in case, it's here, because Adobe's latest version says it bakes everything for you. Here is the root, just in case textures don't look quite right when you start to apply them. So click on OK. Being the quickest workflow, instead of painting, I want to use predefined materials over here and over here. These are the basic materials. Let me go to the inside. If I try apply gold up here, you see that it's intelligent enough to apply to that whole layer that you defined back in Maya. By assigning these materials, you're defining within Painter what are the areas to apply, which is also under the texture list here. If you want to apply a different material to this top layer, let's try a smart material. And smart materials look a lot cooler than just a drag and drop material. So if I drag and drop in here, you'll see edge wear in these indentations. Okay, it's time to get these textures wired up in Maya. In particular, we're using Arnold. So export textures and pick the location to save the textures. And choose the location to save the textures by clicking this button right here. Output template, PBR metal roughness. For the output template, you could select from this drop-down list and pick Arnold AI Standard. And then click Export. And here's the list of the textures that were exported that now have to be wired up in Maya. So jump to Maya. Okay, it's time to get all this stuff wired up. There are shortcuts such as a script that can help you with the creating of an Arnold node, or using SBSAR file format, also kind of script-based as well, using the Substance plugin to apply it. This technique I'm going to show you will always work no matter what application, and then the other techniques of saving a little time can be explored, or should be explored. Right now, just getting the basic concept. So selecting the object, going to the Material tab under the attributes for it, base color, clicking on File, and for that material of box color, using base color. Clicking on the object again. Now that the color is wired in, you could go for the diffuse roughness or the metalness. I'm going to go for diffuse roughness. Clicking on File and picking out the roughness right there. Press the 6 key to see what you got so far. So it looks interesting. More interesting than the usual just painting out individual texture out on the object. Going to the other material, a little further down in the attribute editor for its color. Connect its file to its color. So File, this surface material, though, does have these indents. Interesting little features. Let's jump back to Maya. To wire in the normal map for this, select the object, and I skipped this originally, but the order doesn't really matter. Go under the geometry node for this material. Under bump mapping, right across, connect it to the file, and the file that you're looking for, under File Attributes, it's a normal map right there. With all that done, go under Arnold and make a new sky dome light. Going to attach an HDR image to the sky dome light. Here's my HDR image I'm going to attach to this light. Then go under Arnold, open Arnold Render View, and click on the render button. If you need more light in the scene, you can add lights to the scene, such as create, light, and point light. Make sure to make this light very intense. So under its attributes for Arnold, Exposure, let's try 10. And Arnold, open Arnold renderer, click on play. 10 is way too bright. Let's pull that back down to 5. That's more interesting. Now you can duplicate these boxes. When you're officially rendering this, see these little bright sparkly dots on here? That has to deal with your Arnold render settings. Going under render settings, I know it's going to take a lot longer to render. Clicking on enabled and Arnold, open Arnold render view. As I push the settings higher, you can see that a lot of that white pixie dust has gone away, but not everything. So the settings would have to be even higher than this,